issue is not about academic excellence. It has to do with someone's upbringing, his forthrightness, his fairness, and his patriotism, and of course, the love of this country. The agency that you are about to take over is not a stranger to professors. Professor Henry Wosu, Professor Jega, and Professor Yakubu. I represent Bauchi Central, Bauchi State. Let me join the Senate President in welcoming you, Professor George. Let me begin by saying you were born in 1967. That makes you a middle-aged person. That tells you that your golden years is still ahead of you. This position that you've been nominated for, you have now become the attention of Nigeria and the international community. And looking at your resume, in particular on page 11, Academic Professional Awards, you mentioned Richard Akinjide for Best Overall Student of 1987, late Gally Brown Peterside, prize for the Best Overall Law Student, University of Jos, prize for the Best Overall Student, Fulbright Scholarship, visiting researcher at the University of Iowa, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Dr. Teslim Award of Meritorious Service. The agency that you are about to take over is not a stranger to professors. Professor Henry Wosu, Professor Jega, and Professor Yakubu, Professor Iwu, and so on and so forth. What that tells you and tells Nigeria, the issue is not about academic excellence. It has to do with someone's upbringing, his forthrightness, his fairness, and his patriotism, and of course, the love of this country. As a member of Electoral Committee, courtesy of the Senate, we have traversed this country. And one of the highlights of our public interaction is the demand for transmissions of results real time. And that encapsulates a lot of logistics, but more particularly about the mindset of the leader of that agency. What do you understand by transmission of results real times? And do you think that, like most Nigerians think, that this is tenable, this is achievable? What is your position about transmission of the real times? Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, my name is Oji Uzokalo. I represent Abia North of Abia State Senatorial District. Mr. President, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Nominee, thank you for coming, and my question will be very brief to you because your resume have shown. When I got this resume, I thought I was going to go back to school. I asked the person, is there a CV? He said yes. The young lady that brought it, I said, for you? He said yes. And I was surprised. But knowing you as a professor, let me go straight to the question. One persistent challenge that have been of late is the deployment of materials and personnel, knowing the vastness of our nation and the complexity of the country, tell us, what strategy will you bring to manage the complexity of the country, especially on the areas that have bad terrains and security challenges? These areas are areas that you must not allow any Nigeria to be disenfranchised because they have security challenge, or because people will tell you, oh, that place is hilly, that place is far. What is your strategy? Is threatening to give free, fair, and just election that will be acceptable by all Nigerians. Thank you, Mr. President.
Uku. I represent Enugu West. Prof, I congratulate you, but I'm sure you have had enough accolades. So I'll go straight to the question. No matter how beautiful our electoral policies and procedures are, the integrity of the people who carry out this election matters. Now I'm going to talk about the integrity of the people who either are INEC staff or ad hoc staff, who are going to be the people who conduct these elections. Prof, how are you going to set up an internal mechanism that is going to deter the people conducting the elections from compromising? How are you going to prevent it? And what mechanism are you going to put in place to detect when such compromises occur? And finally, how are you going to ensure that there is adequate punishment, maybe working with the National Assembly, to prosecute those who are entrusted with the responsibility to conduct the election, but who goes back to compromise the election? Thank you very much.
Very good question. The real nitty-gritty is with those who are vested with the responsibility of going to the nooks and crannies of the nation. What they do and bring back can either mar his administration or promote his administration. So, Prof, it's at that stage, I think you should answer together with the other questions so far asked.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
But because of the person or the Deputy Senate President, please proceed and answer. Distinguished Minority Leader. Only the Deputy Senate President has the latitude to ask extended